Let's bring in Council on Foreign Relations Life member and senior fellow at the Independent Women's Forum, Dr. Qanta Ahmed. For more, Dr. Ahmed, thanks for coming on. Democrats and even some Republicans have raised concerns over President Trump accepting this luxury jet from Qatar. The administration argues it's not a bribe because it's not conditioned on any official act. So what do you make of that? And what does Qatar stand to gain here? Is this just a gesture of good faith?
So in the scale of things, this airplane is a distraction. And I think the president and the White House can speak about their reasons why. One question is, why is Boeing so slow at producing new Air Force Ones? I gather the current Air Force One our presidents use is 40 years old. And also, this is not for the president's personal use, but that's a side issue. This trip is so much more important than any previous visit of any president to the Middle East. First of all, you mentioned it, Diane, lifting of sanctions from Syria, a country that has suffered relentlessly, including experiencing the worst genocide the Middle East has seen since the era of Saddam Hussein, now is open to trade with the international market. That is also very important to keep out Chinese and Iranian influence that would otherwise have exploited Syria. Number two, the economic engagement with Saudi Arabia and again with Qatar. Qatar is announcing 1.2 trillion in deals. The Saudis are aiming for an equivalent sum that is the Crown Prince has said would be working towards. Isn't just an economic exchange. It's laying the groundwork for a future that is going to carry both the United States and the Middle East and the global South. That part of the world is going to become the center of global population expanding into the future. And it's almost like I term it as an Aramco moment. Just as oil was discovered 100 years ago with the help of American innovation and American private capital that transformed the world, the same thing is happening with AI and chips.
And you mentioned the president saying he's ending sanctions on Syria. He's also recognizing al-Shabaab's government. What could that mean for Syrians and the wider region in general?
Well, it means that they re-enter the banking system. It means that outside countries can engage with Syria and develop energy, develop healthcare infrastructure. This country was completely abandoned and left to a vacuum under the cruelty and the brutality of Assad, which was then exploited by proxy wars, including Russia and Hezbollah. They have no fabric of their society. However, the engagement of the international community also means the new leader, al-Shara, will be under tremendous pressure to safeguard minorities. I predict the United States will extract recognition and eventually addition of Syria to the Abraham Accords and a formal peace with Israel. That will put pressure on Lebanon to finally disarm of Hezbollah and also enter that agreement. It also keeps at bay Turkey, that is a patron of the Muslim Brotherhood, from colonizing and taking over Syria in a vacuum that would have existed, much as Iran just did.
President Trump also said yesterday he hopes Saudi Arabia will join the Abraham Accords soon. How realistic is that, and how significant would it be if it does happen?
First of all, even the Abraham Accords, I was present during the signing in 2020, was an extraordinary diplomatic feat. And it is something that has held and continued in the intense pressure of the Israel-Hamas war that the region has lived through. Secondly, that was one of the major ways the Arab boycott of 22 nations has begun to diminish. Also, I am an optimist. I do believe Saudi Arabia will normalize in time. That is going to happen only after the establishment of a sovereign Palestinian state. Innocent Palestinians deserve the dignity of a place to live, the dignity of a nation of their own, and freedom to travel the world. And that state will not be governed by Hamas. This is the beginning of eliminating extremism from the region, but al-Shara will be under very close scrutiny.
All right. Senior fellow at the Independent Women's Forum, Dr. Qanta Ahmed, thank you.
Pleasure.